You know, Kayvon Thibodeaux is a guy who's had a really interesting story, kind of starting from the beginning of the football season up until this point. A lot of people had him as the #1 overall player heading into this draft. He's kind of slid back a little bit, but there's still a lot of optimism about what he can do in the NFL. We'll start with his strengths. First off, his build. And I talk about this all the time. There are certain things that you can teach guys on the football field, but you can't teach the build. And he's a bigger bodied guy. He's got long arms, but he's extremely lean. And so he's able to use that to his advantage. I always talk about creating space, but he's somebody who can do that based off of his build. He's got really good mobility and movement skill. He's a guy who can change directions on a dime. He's got a really good first step off of the ball. His second and third steps are great as well. His 10-yard split in the 40 kind of exhibits that. He's a guy who really moves around well. And then something we haven't talked about a lot with some of these edge rushers is he's a guy who can play in coverage. He's got good coverage ability. And so that allows you within certain schemes to not always have to rush him. In blitz packages, you could drop him off of the ball. He can play a little bit of coverage. And ultimately, you try to confuse quarterbacks by doing that. But of course, there are weaknesses with every player that we're going to look at here in the draft too. One of the first weaknesses is run stopping. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard that. As I've gone through some of these edge rushers, a lot of these guys understand that their money is made when they hit the quarterback. But he is not necessarily great in the run game, something he's going to have to improve. He's got average hands. We talk about these hands and your ability to knock the tackles off of you, your ability to create space. He is a very good natural athlete. So for him, a lot of his rushes just come off of being able to beat people off of the edge. He doesn't have great technique. He doesn't use his hands very well. At the next level, that's going to be extremely important. And then you talk about that athleticism again. He's got the limited pass rush tree. And so what I mean by that is his first speed rush is really good. He's got kind of a counter. It's not a great counter. And then off of that, you're not seeing a ton. Now, here's a guy that has some natural traits. He's got a lot of upside. That's what people like about him. That's what gets you excited. But there are going to be some things that you have to coach him through at the NFL level if he's going to have the ultimate level of success. But as I look at it, I would take a guy anytime that's got those traits. He's got those natural abilities. I don't have to coach a guy on how to get taller and have to get faster. I have to coach a guy on how to use his hands, and I can do that all day.